Woodcraft in San Carlos. Today we're going to do a little demonstration on knife scales. We're going to use a drop point Skinner knife today. We have a variety of knives. You could do kitchen knives, fillet knives, hunting knives, pocket knives. The formula is the same, just a little different in shaping of the handle. We are going to be using spalted hackberry for our handles, which is really a nice wood for knife scales. It's great for steam bending. It's got an overall nice look to it. The one thing you have to be careful for is these black lines you see are bacteria in the wood. So when you're working with any kind of spalted wood, we always need our mask. It's going to keep us safe and keep our lungs safe. So the first thing to do is get all your tools together. We need some epoxy. I like 15-minute. You could use 5-minute. It's really up to you. We need a few clamps. I like F-style clamp. I also like these clamps because you can get a nice feel. We do not want to squeeze it too tight that all the epoxy comes out. That's not good. So first what we do is we take our stock, we will resaw it right down the middle to get to about 3/8 is what I like to start with. If you get it closer to 3/8, you are going to have less grinding and sanding to do, which is nice on the other side. So we lay out our 3/8 inch stock. Hopefully you can see this. And you want to decide if the wood is going to come all the way up to here, if you want it to stop here. The thing that's important is that this pin is enough in the wood. I like to kind of put it at a slant and stop it right there. As long as it's good enough for me to see. Now I got to flip it over this way. And the object is to get that to the same exact spot I had here, which is right there. Normally, before we do this, we are going to cover this blade with blue tape. But I wanted you to see how sharp it is before we do that, without cutting myself, of course. Now we have our pattern. We will lay out our pin marks, drill our holes, and glue it on. It's basically that simple. So now what I'm going to do is come in here and put my pin marks. I'm only going to do it on one side because after I cut them out, I'm going to flip them on top of each other and just drill one hole, and then I know they're going to be perfectly lined up. Let's move to the bandsaw and cut these out. Okay, now we have these all cut to size that are going to fit right on our blade. And since I left, I went and made this safe, so I'm not going to cut myself with the blue tape. So now I have my marks. Take my center punch, get right in the center of that hole. This wood is nice and soft, so what I do is I start on this side of the hole because when I pick up my thing, it falls right into the middle of the hole, and now I'm in the center. We're going to use a 4mm brad tip point, which the little tip grabs the hole, which is nice. Now, we're going to line these up. Going to tape them together. because obviously by the time we get from one hole to the next hole, if I don't tape it, I can almost guarantee that they're not going to line up. We have the holes drilled. They should line up nicely. We're going to take some coarse sandpaper and scuff up this metal so the glue has something to grab. Right now it's very slick. We want to scratch it and make it have something to bite on. Then we are going to take our epoxy. We're going to mix 2 parts. I like to make one pile and then another pile side by side, so we can actually see the volume, because this is a 1-to-1 mix. If you put the pile on top of each other, you won't know how much is on the second pile. Mix it really good. Then we are going to put some glue on this face, dip some glue in our pins. So now these are going to be in, and they're going to go just about to the end. Going to have to, because all the math adds up that will happen. Then we are going to slip this right on. And when you do it right, they should all just line up perfectly. What I like to do is I take this and I really set these pins so they're right in the center. This one's a little bit on this side. Now we have glue dripping out everywhere. We're going to take our clamps, not too much pressure, because we don't want all the glue to come out. We want some glue, most of the glue, to stay in. And when I do this one, normally I'll do a snug handshake strength, a little bit less. We don't need that tight. So now that is going to glue up. This is really like a 30-minute epoxy. And when we're done, like the magic camera, we have one glued up, ready to go. From here, what we'll do, again, we want this to protect from the glue, as well as when we're grinding this, we don't want to grind the blade either. So we're going to use our drum sander, our disc sander, and our 1" by 30 belt sander to get this ground down to beautiful. So you would get it all ground down, make it round so it feels good in your hand. I have a couple examples. This one is a maple, and I have a true oil on it. I just ground it down all the way around. This is a Claro walnut. Everybody kind of has their favorite woods. Again, I like the true oil. But it will take about an hour to get this unit ground down to that size. That's not very long, and it depends on your grinding equipment. If you have to sand this and file this with a rasp and a file, probably going to take a little bit longer. So when you're choosing your wood for your knife scale, obviously it's small enough that you can pull from your own stock or your scrap bin. But we also sell them already cut to thickness, and we have probably 30 to 50 different varieties of wood already made into knife scales for you. We also have something called micarta, which is like a synthetic wood. The reason that people use that is because we all know that wood moves. And when you wash these knives, if you don't dry them properly, the wood is wet for a long period of time, could move. And that's why we use the pins. Someone once told me, oh, just glue them on and it's fine. But after a while, without the pins and washing it in the water, the wood moves and they could pop off. So on my first couple experiences, I had that. Then I learned, use the pins. Thanks for joining me making these knife scales. It's a project I really enjoy doing. I like giving them, because they do make a great gift, and you can give them to a variety of people based on the type of knife. Feel free to give us a call, come down, we'll guide you and help you make something nice.